Hey guys, Jeff here. How have your sleep patterns changed as you've gotten older? I'm 58 years old. I used to sleep 8-10 hours a day solid, and I mean solid. Now that I'm 58, I'm lucky if I get 6 hours a day sleep. Let's talk about it.
So hey folks, Jeff here. As you can see by the beginning of the video, it's kind of based on sleep at this age. Now, throughout my life, I generally got, 8 to 10 hours of sleep. Solid, every night. I could almost set an alarm to the 8 hours. If I went to bed at 10, 10 p.m., I got up at 6 p.m., usually with no alarm. Never had difficulties like that. Anyway, that went on for a lot of years. Worked out, no aches, no pains, no nothing. Now, I guess when I reached my 50s, early 50s, I guess, and that's the best I could predict, there were health changes. And those health changes were, aches and pains, arthritis, bursitis. Anybody at this age has something, be it in the tip of your finger or in your shoulder or something like that. Now, we all have that. Now, I didn't notice initially that I was actually losing sleep, probably as a result of it. And it wasn't all at once. It was, a couple minutes, half hour. I didn't really track it. Now, when I'm 58, I noticed dramatically I've lost hours of sleep. No matter what, whatever the tasks I do during the day that would tire me out, I've still lost the sleep. Now I'm down to about 6 hours of sleep, which is, I wake up, I don't really feel rested, something like that. I don't feel the greatest, but, I still am rested. Now, you could say, go to the doctor, they have sleep stuff and Ambien or whatever it is they prescribe. And I've had those in the past, like, prior to like a surgery or something, you kind of nervous the night before, so they give you something to make sure you sleep. Anyway, I've had those things. And what I've noticed is yeah, they put me to sleep, they keep me to sleep. But then what happens is I wake up feeling strange, and that's a result of a chemical sleep. I was sleeping because of the chemicals in my system. Now, so I don't want to continue taking those. I don't want to continue doing that. I just want as natural a sleep as I can get. Now, you guys, what do you think? Where are you at with your sleep patterns? I can go like out in town, take the spouse out somewhere, and she goes into stores. Sometimes I just don't want to go into them, so I sit in the vehicle. Whatever, it's not that big of a deal. Now, what'll happen is with these 6 hours of sleep, I'll sit in that vehicle too long and I'll fall asleep in the vehicle. I never did that before, and it's not because I stayed up too long or up too late. Is that what's happening to you guys? Is that going on with you? I don't know that it's life-changing or anything like that, but it is definitely changing for me at my age. Now, does it happen to you? How do you get around it? Do you just settle for the lack of sleep? Do you settle, okay, well, it is just 6 hours, and not take the pharmaceuticals to help you get to sleep? Do you do that? I think that's kind of where I'm at. I just would rather not take any drugs to help me sleep. Now, I'm pretty sure the aches and pains are keeping me awake, or at least getting me up throughout the night. So it's probably not a solid 6 hours sleep. Now, I have a sleep number bed, and it's not scientific, but it has an app on my phone, and it tracks my sleep patterns. And some of those I looked at, and I get up generally, and I don't mean get up and wander the house or get something to drink. I generally get up in my sleep about every 2 hours. I don't leave the bed. I don't go to the bathroom. None of those things. But I get up, and sometimes I have sinus issues, so I have to use stuff for my sinuses, spray. And sometimes it's just sleeping too long on one side. It actually takes me from, a sleep like this to wide awake. And then it's 10 minutes to go back asleep. I don't know. Is it supposed to be like this? Is this going to get any better? This is what I have to look forward to? Let me know what you guys think. Now, I covered something in another video, and I'm going to put a picture down here in the corner, one of these corners, and it's for Incogni. Now, Incogni is, in simple terms, in blue-collar terms, I'm not going to go into the technical side, they're a service that wipes your data from the internet. Now, like I said in one of my other videos, I had somebody bring something up to me and knew something about my life. I don't know where they got the information, but it was true, but I didn't admit that. They must have looked it up on the internet. Well, that kind of spooked me a little. And I've had a few people around me have their identity stolen, maybe a little bit, bank accounts hacked. So that came into mind, so I got Incogni. They're not providing a service here. I paid for it. And I'll provide a link below that they did give me so you can get Incogni and get a discount because of me. It could be up to 60%. Oh, I'm sorry, 58%. So what they do is scrub your data from the internet. You say, well, really, how does that apply to me? Well, let's say you're recently divorced, or you're getting ready to get a divorce, be it male or female, it doesn't matter. Now, the other party in a divorce is probably digging through your past, trying to find anything they can to make you look bad or take something from you, be it financial or property or whatever. They're digging. And this is something I didn't consider when I made the other video. They get online and they do this search. And those data brokers hold quite a bit of information, be it property you own, maybe bank accounts the spouse didn't know about, maybe property, things like that. Your spouse can use those services to track down your information. Things you might have done 6 months ago. You inquired about something or whatever. That stuff comes up on a lot of these data broker sites. Now, Incogni takes care of all that. They get rid of it. They make you, I don't want to say untraceable, but very hard to follow on the internet. Now, they don't wipe out your social media and things like that. If you keep posting on those things during, say, a divorce or you just want to drop off the face of the earth and disappear, those things are going to still be there. Incogni doesn't get to those. But what they do is get to the more in-depth ones, the background check places, the things like that. And consider it, guys. Consider it. If you're going into retirement and you just want to be just left to enjoy your retirement, not have scams and all these other things going on around you, consider Incogni. Use my link. Get a discount. Try it for 1 year. 1 year. And see what happens. When you get on their website, you pay for the service and you get on their website, you can visually see what they're doing. I don't want to say I'm blown away, but it's one of my better investments for the software or for the membership to Incogni for 1 year. Just 1 year. After that, I'll determine if I have to stay or if I'm satisfied with the results. 1 year, folks. How many investments or how many things do you buy in your life that turn out to be flops or junk or trash or whatever, or useless stuff? This one isn't that service. Incogni. Try it out, guys. Now, getting back to the sleep stuff, where do I intend to go from here? Well, I still have to maintain the solid sleep. I still have a job. I still have to, all of you guys know that drill where you're on a schedule. That's it. You're on a schedule. And I still have to maintain that, be it 6 hours or 8 hours or 10 hours sleep. Now, I can alter that a little, but I have to screw with certain things while I'm awake. I have to maybe do a lot more yard work, which I really don't want to do, or I have to do a lot more physical labor, which brings the 6 hours, being tired, brings it up into maybe 8 or 10 hours again. But at 58 or even at retirement age, you're not trying to pile on the work. You're trying to, I guess, maintain what you can do and get out the door. And that's kind of where I'm at. Maintain what I can do and get out the door. I also like to say in this video, normally I shoot with a GoPro Hero 13. Generally, because it's an easy unit to use. Generally does okay. I've shifted on this video, just for something different, to my Canon R50 EOS. I don't want to get into the specs of it all or anything like that. Now, I don't typically record in 4K. I can do 4K, but it takes a lot longer in processing, or it takes a little bit longer in processing and a little bit longer in editing. And I don't really need to do it. 1080p is generally what I do. And even YouTube kind of recommends that, and some other social media platforms. You can do 4K, but as a whole, just to make it quick, 1080p works for me. Whatever the frame rate is, I'm not really sure. So that's what I'm doing right now. Now back to the sleep thing. I don't know which way to go with this. If I'm gonna... I really don't know. I don't know how to alter it. Do I alter something else to get 8 hours of sleep, or do I stick at the 6 hours of sleep I'm getting? And it's not because of, you might think, external stimuli, and there might be some of that I have to work on. I'm not a coffee drinker. I drink tea a lot, and that could be a caffeine problem that kind of keeps me awake a little longer. Diet, things like that. Not having a regular sleep schedule, because I don't work Monday through Friday 9 to 5. I don't work those hours. I basically work 1 p.m. to 1 a.m. Monday through Thursday. And I have Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays off every week. It's been that way for a number of years. So, how much, I don't know how much I can alter there. What do you guys do for the broken sleep? Is there something I don't know? Maybe there's a lot of things you could say take place. Lack of vitamins or whatever the case may be. There's always a list of these things that, and I think I've gone down that road. I take vitamins, I have regular doctor checkups. I have existing health issues, but those could be part of why I'm not getting any sleep, mainly the aches and pains. Inevitably, I don't want to take a bunch of drugs before I go to sleep, bunch of ibuprofen or anything like that, or chemical stuff. I'm trying to avoid that stuff. So what can I do? I don't know. You have to, let me know in the comments below what you think. I'm Jeff in Ohio.